for some strange reason, there were still people out there that were under the belief that somehow the Xbox Series X solid-state drive was better or faster than the PlayStation 5 solid-state drive. Now, I'm not sure why anyone would think that at this particular time, especially given that we know the facts. It doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense. Now, near as I can tell, this basically is something that came about because there's some games that load faster on the Xbox Series X, but if you look at the games that actually do load faster, the majority of them, if not all of them, are last-gen games, which got like a simple update, which aren't taking full use and of the PlayStation 5 architecture. Now, if you go back to March of 2020, when we had that Mark Cerny deep dive, we really kind of got the idea that for games to take advantage of this solid-state drive that they were using, it had to be built from the ground up to utilize it, which is the huge difference in what we're seeing with those games. That's where some of that comes from. Now, Digital Foundry actually did something pretty unique where they tried to see if an Xbox Series X solid-state drive will actually work in the PlayStation 5, and they had some very interesting results, and I gotta say, I'm here for it. This is something that I am very much looking forward to. I'm sure it's going to amaze some people. I'm sure it's going to probably piss some people off. The idea isn't to piss anybody off, but just to be honest about it and to showcase what's going on. I trust me, I totally get where a lot of people are going to be thinking that this has something to do with fanboyism or something like that. It doesn't have anything to do with that. This is only talking about the solid-state drives and clearing up any confusion by giving you some information about the factual tests that they just ran. Literally just ran these tests, and they're showing some pretty impressive stuff, I gotta say. So for me personally, I thought it was well worth talking about, and I'm very excited to talk about this because it's going to be very important going forward, just to kind of see where these two kind of consoles stand with this, because we give the Xbox Series X props where it deserves it. We should give the PlayStation 5 props where it deserves it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I do want to jump right into this. What's up, everybody? Crapgamer here with Crapgamer Reviews, back with another video. Thank you so much for checking it out. I certainly appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe. I would appreciate that as well. It helps out the channel, and it means a lot to me personally. If you guys are looking for a way to help out, a like is all it takes. And it means so much to me, just as a person, that there's people out there that still enjoy the content, even though after all the stuff that has kind of gone on, and the stuff that I've been through, the stuff you've been through, all that stuff doesn't matter because we're here, we're in the now, and this is what we're talking about. So, when we look at the PlayStation 5 solid-state drive versus the Xbox Series X, a lot of people want to know which one's better. So internal storage size is 825 gigs for the PlayStation 5 and 1 terabyte for the Xbox Series X, although with the PlayStation 5 they're using Kraken compression and stuff like that, so a lot of the same games like the multiplats and the exclusives even are taking up much less space, so it sort of evens out. Now, the I/O throughput is basically the more important thing. So on the PlayStation 5 side, 5.5 gigabytes a second of raw data gets pushed through, just normal, right? Where only 2.4 gigabytes raw on the Xbox side of things. So like more than double on the PlayStation side. Now, compressed, it's typical for 9 gigabytes per second compressed on the PlayStation 5. Compressed on the Xbox Series X, 4.8. So they're pulling more with the raw on the PlayStation 5 than they are with the compressed on the Xbox Series X. So obviously that's something that's going to be something to kind of talk about. While the Xbox Series X solid-state drive does indeed have a meager advantage in store size, which itself is reduced by the variety of expandable options on PS5, it's really in the performance category that Microsoft's console takes an absolute beating. The figures don't lie. The PlayStation 5 solid-state drive runs more than twice the speed of the Xbox Series X solid-state drive in RAW mode and nearly twice as fast in compressed. This is a game changer, not least because not only Sony and you can finally say goodbye to the excruciating long update copy process that would make every patch download an absolute chore, but also because Sony's super fast custom solid state drive means a return into the cartridge days of old where the games would just boot up and play immediately. So yeah, the PlayStation 5 solid state drive is a lot better than the offering on the Xbox Series X and S in terms of what they're going to be able to offer as far as just the speeds. Like, there's no denying this, there's no doubting this, there's no looking at it and going, huh, well, maybe that's not the... No, there's none of that. It's just really, really clear that, you know, basically what's happening here is the Xbox Series X has a nice kind of off-the-shelf kind of solid-state drive. Now, Digital Foundry ran some tests, and I'm going to go ahead and link this in the description. You guys can check it out. Basically, what they were talking about was they did the latest Digital Foundry tech chat. The team tried putting an Xbox solid-state drive in a PlayStation 5 to disastrously disappointing results. So yeah, basically, what's going on with this is they're 100% covered the fact that they were able to kind of take apart the solid state drive in the Xbox Series X and then put this into the or they took apart the Xbox Series X one and put it in the PlayStation 5, and they couldn't even get this thing to boot up, basically showcasing the major issues and the major differences between the two platforms. Now, that's not to say that, you know, the Xbox One isn't good, or that there's, you know, listen, there's a trade-off, folks. Both these companies pick things to go with, and, you know, they have to keep price in mind. You know, nobody's going to pay $600, $700, $800 for a console. It's just, you know, it's not going to happen. Now, when it comes to this, I think it's easy to say Microsoft went with, they said, okay, well, we want to have very powerful hardware, et cetera, and they did that. And they probably also figured that it wouldn't make much sense to do state-of-the-art like Sony did with the solid-state drive, because, let's be honest, the lowest common denominator is the one that gets kind of catered to. So when it comes to third-party stuff, nobody's really going to take full advantage of that solid-state drive in the PlayStation 5, because then you couldn't really put your game on the Xbox or PC, even for that matter, considering a lot of people with PCs don't even have a solid-state drive. So if you were to try to take full advantage of something there, it wouldn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense. Now, on the opposite side, on the Xbox side, you have the compatibility situation where you can actually, you know, just buy the expandable things and clip it into your Xbox, and I think that works great. I think that's really cool. I like the way that they do that. It's much simpler. It's easy. You know, we kind of see kind of what's going on there with that. I like how they've done that on the PlayStation side. It's much more difficult. You actually have to go out there and you have to, you know, take apart things. Oh my gosh, a screwdriver. I know it's tough, but I do think that it's really cool the way that they've done, you know, kind of go over that. So I like the way that they've done it. But again, the PlayStation 5 is absolutely the solid state drive, much better, and much faster than the Xbox Series X. So we do have to kind of look at that and go, you know, that's just a fact at this point. Why is anybody even debating it? I would love to know. You know, hopefully one of these days we kind of get the idea of what's going on, and people can just kind of come to that and understand it. Like, for me personally, I have no problem. Like, people consider me a PlayStation guy for some reason, but I have no problem admitting Xbox Series X is the most powerful console. Really has a tremendous piece of hardware behind it, and I think that they've done a really good job with that. Now, on the other side, I've always said, you know, the basic thing behind the PlayStation 5, the looks of it, the aesthetic of the console itself, the speed of the solid state drive, the fact that they went with the new controller that's the best controller, the fact that they went with a new UI, I love all that stuff. I think it's really cool that they were able to get that out there, and that's all stuff that I love about the PlayStation 5. You know, that's honestly 100% of the stuff that I love about the PlayStation 5. Now, when it comes to Xbox, yeah, I mean, we get some of this stuff and we can see that, you know, hey, it's pretty cool to see that, you know, they have a solid state drive, but let's not kid ourselves into thinking that solid state drive is on par with what Sony was offering. I mean, Sony waited to the last minute before they went out and actually got theirs, and I think that's pretty clear with what's going on. So hopefully this clears any kind of debate up. It was nice to see, and I can't wait to see what the comments are. You guys can always feel free to hit me up on Twitter, Xbox, YouTube, wherever. It doesn't really matter. Enjoy hearing from you. Again, it's not a knock on Xbox, just setting the record straight. Hopefully you guys understand where I'm coming from. Have a fantastic day. Fact them up, rack them up, crap gamer them up. Crap gamer out.